Now, now, I have to take you through this because it's something I want to show you here, but I can't show you this because I've talked so much on here. Well, I'm just showing you how things is. But yet, you're killing the black people over here. But each time you mix your interbreed in with their daughters because you're killing the seed of that man in your prison, even if you taking them out of society. You have created a myth. The drugs don't kill them all at one time, but through a slow due process of time, the drugs destroy these black people. In other words, they become as dead men upon the earth because they cannot think for themselves. They become as living corpses upon the earth because they have no power to serve their own hand. They have to rely on handout, charity, to sustain their life, yet they live with no purpose and no meaning. Well, what you done did, you sent your peoples to college, black people and white people alike, but the majority of white people. You've educated them to be doctors, lawyers, surgeons, manufacturers, all of this. This is the due process which you create for a poor man to keep that rich man richer and to keep that poor man poor through the blood of the people. We're past that point where you kill the buffaloes. And now we up at these people that's supposed to have that freedom, which is a black person to a majority. You have taken, when you take and they are working upon the face of the earth, they become a non-productive system that can add to the due process and the strength of the United States of America. But by the same time, you don't have a natural resource. You're using all your natural resources up there in the craft that you have created and built. Matter of fact. Well, this man walking upon the earth as a living corpse. But your greatest mistake was when you thought that your money was a thing, a root, had a root, that you could plant it in the earth and it catch root, just like the due process God had created with everything that He created and made a seed even before it planted in the earth. They became a seed of a reproduction system, and through this reproduction system from the foundation of the world, where God created and manufactured and made everything, all creatures of the earth have lived by that way, even as of now. Not by the hands of man, but by the hands of the living God. But at the same time, while this man is have created and manufactured a myth of lies and said scientific facts, and they came up with a religion called Scientology, denying the powers of God that He created and manufactured all of these things, but yet they glorify the works of their own hands and deny while living of the knowledge and the wisdom of the living God up until this point. This is the way the ignorant minds of the peoples are. You can say this. But yet they say we came through scientific fact, but the living God is the one who created all these things, so He got to go through this and let that man start killing himself through his lies until he realized that he didn't come this far by a way of scientific fact. And neither did he come this far by the works of his own hand, but by the works of the living God. He was created And by the ways of the living God, he lived of the substance upon which that living God created and made the environment into the habitat even before he was created, that man would live upon this earth, going to and fro as flesh, that he was created for a reason and a purpose. And that man had defiled the reason and purpose and had made a war on the God who created everything. When God take away all the substance of life that sustained that man up until this point, and he realized that the mistake he made was not by God, but by his own hand of technology and knowledge, he will fall down on his knees and he will bow and he will confess that God is God and Jesus is Lord. Well, when America, Prison Blues was set, Japanese and Chinese became the industrialized nation of the world. The Gentiles of the North could feel the tides shifting among them. They can no longer bear the glorification of being the richest nation upon the earth, the United States being the greatest and the richest of them all. God has separated 7 nations, one the United States and the other 6 is somebody else. I don't know who it is. But when they find the tides is shifting beneath them, they look for a reality and look for a refuge, but there is no refuge because they have created a myth and placed their wealth in the way of money. But money is just a piece of toilet tissue with human faces painted on it. Same thing as toilet tissue. If you don't have no wealth to create a standard to support your money, then it becomes as worthless as a piece of toilet tissue, but only thing it have face on. So what they do at the due process of time, they had to create a lie to invade Iraq and Afghanistan and all of these nations because they have a natural resource called crude oil. They see this as a product to be used to take and put the industrialized nation back on a solid foundation. They're too proud to beg. America is too proud to beg. But jealousy came upon them because of these people. They got all these manufacturers here in the United States. They have no crude oil. So if you don't have nothing to run these things, then what you do? You start moving your manufacturers over toward them place, pretending you are their people. Take the whole to their people and say, look, we brought our industrials over here. We left the United States of America. This is what the CIA does, using America against America. And at the end of the day, you have to fabricate a lie. Once you get these peoples on your side, you have to fabricate a lie and say these peoples having weapons of mass destruction to create a war that you might go and take their crude oil. It's in the Bible. Daniel chapter 3 or 4. In doing so, you have defiled your covenant. This is the way God uses us against the other. Not because you is his faithful son, but because you is more sinister mind. God used these things against the United States of America because of his trademark. God set up an ambush.